We're out of routine. We're out of our normal daily life, and we have to discover ourselves, and we have to discover other people in a different way. And as we said before, it's always good changing the point of view.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Yellow Van Stories, your interview podcast taking you across the globe in a yellow French camper van by the name of Fonzie. I'm your host and driver, Bastian. Every week, I invite creators from all over the world into the van to explore with them the opportunities hidden within a crisis. We have been waiting just for you and kept you a seat by the window side. Also, because technically, there are no others. Feel free to order any imaginary beverage that strikes your fancy. Fonzie's in first gear already, and we are good to go. So buckle up and get comfortable, because today we're going to France. Here with me in the yellow van today is Thomas Hinterberger, a solo ballet dancer at the Opera National Du Rhin in Mulhouse in France. It's a pleasure to have you here, Thomas, in the yellow van.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be invited. Nice seeing you, hearing you.
Yes, this time with picture as well. Amazing, right? Because in all honesty, we have done this podcast once before and I messed it up. So we're doing it again, which I think is definitely not going to deteriorate the quality. And on the contrary, I think it's going to make it even better because there are some other questions that I felt that I could have maybe been a little more after or behind. And I'm definitely going to ask them this time. So that's so much for second chances in life, right?
You're welcome. That's no.
So the first question is, where are you right now, Thomas?
I'm in my dining room, living room. It's together.
All right.
In my house, yeah.
In Mulhouse or where do you live?
No, it's a small village next to Mulhouse, 4 kilometers from Mulhouse. It's called Brunstadt.
All right. But you don't have it far. Your commute to the opera is not that far.
It's
then
4 kilometers to my rehearsal place, yeah. Training.
That's all right. You can cycle that.
I do always with bicycles.
Excellent. That's the best way to get to work.
I need a bit of sport, I think, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, because we all know you ballet dancers hardly move, right? I mean, you're very static most of the time.
7 hours a day, but then...
Yeah, but who's counting, right?
Exactly.
Great. What is your favorite thing in that room, actually, where you are right now?
The sofa.
The sofa. A reason why?
It's the place to relax after a hard working day. It's the place to read histories with the kids, to read book with the kids, and having family moments there, and just relaxing.
Nice, very nice. I think you painted a very vivid picture there. So, and now the second most important question, or actually the most important question: what are you drinking? What are we cheering with? What are we talking with?
As good as it has to be, a Bavarian beer.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I have chosen it's actually an Italian red wine. I could lie now and say it's a French red wine, but it's red wine. It was open, so I thought red wine in France, it still goes well together.
It goes right? Very well. So
cheers. À votre santé. Zum
yes,
Wohl.
Zum Wohl.
Mm.
And which wine is it? From where?
It's a. Wow! Now you got me. It's a primitivo. I can't tell you exactly. It's on the tip of my tongue. Not just the taste, also actually the name, but I can't tell you now. It's I have to get back to you on this one. But it's very drinkable to say.
It's nice, yeah. But you're lucky that you tasted.
Yes, absolutely.
Unfortunately, I still don't taste red wine. That's why I'm with beer. Yes.
That is true. We'll get into that because you have actually had the coronavirus, right?
Yes. Like 1 year ago in March 2020.
So right in the beginning.
Right in the beginning, yeah.
Wow. Okay. We'll definitely get into that a little more. Before we get into it, I want to read a little introduction of you so that people also get a bit more of a background of you and how you came to where you are now.
Okay.
And as usual, when I'm done with it and you feel I missed out something or I messed something up, which is always very possible, you just let us know.
Okay.
All right? Perfect. Okay. So, Thomas Hinterberger is a solo ballet dancer at the Opera National Du Rhin in Mulhouse in France. He got his diploma in ballet dancing from the Academy for Dance and Music in Munich in Germany in 2001, and he holds a professorship in classic dance since 2018. Born in 1980 in Munich, Germany, just in case people don't know that. He trained as a dancer at the Heinz-Bosl-Stiftung in Munich with Konstanze Vernon, Hans-Joachim and Alexander Prokofiev. From 1999 to 2001, he participated in productions with the Bayerisches Staatsballet Munich. He joined the Deutsche Oper am Rhein Düsseldorf in 2001, and he danced Swan Lake, West Side Story, Coppelia, a Casse-noisette by Youri Vamos. I think one of the very dear choreographers and people you've worked with. Yes. He joined the Ballet of the Opera National Du Rhin in September 2006. His principal roles include, and this is a long list, which is by no means complete, so bear with me here, and mispronunciation is definitely going to be my thing during this list, so bear with me there as well. So the principal roles include Dichterliebe by Bertrand, Le Marteau, Son Maître by Maurice Béjart, La Sylphide by Auguste Bournonville, version Dinna Bjørn, Immanence by Adonis Phoniadakis, Giselle, Pas de Deux from the Grey Pickers, Maina Gilgud. Is she Scandinavian? Am I saying it remotely correct?
Yes, she's Scandinavian.
All right. Wedding by Jacopo Godani, Don Quixote by Rui Lopez Grassa, Walking Mad and Empty House by Johann Inger, Sinfonietta by Jiří Kylián. I don't know. I'm sure you will let us know if I have really messed it up bad. And Heinz-Bosl-Stiftung Goldberg variations, which I also saw online, which are absolutely gorgeous to watch. And I think I will spare the audience the rest of my mispronunciations and everything, and just say the list goes on and on and on. So you have been very busy. It is safe to say.
Yes, the list could be longer. Yeah, definitely. But yeah.
I could go the entire episode just reading stuff off, right? I suppose.
Yeah, it's quite a long list.
But I will add a link to your site, to your profile as well, so people can really get an in-depth view as well. I think a very important step was that you were appointed soloist in January 2018 at the Opera National Du Rhin. We will get into why that is so important. And I think it is safe to say that this was one of the most challenging years in the history of the Opera National Du Rhin, as it had to cancel large parts of this year's season due to the COVID pandemic. The performing arts, and especially dance with its necessity of physical proximity and touch, are quite possibly hit the hardest under the lockdowns and as seats remain empty. How all of this affected the opera, the ensemble, and Thomas in particular, and what this means for the new year and the new season, we are here to talk about today. And it is therefore my great pleasure to welcome you aboard the Yellow Van, Thomas.
Thank you very much.
Anything except for, let's just skip the pronunciation part of all the things. Anything I missed or you would like to add, or are you quite happy with what I've just read out?
No, it's quite reflecting my career. Maybe we can add that lately it's kind of the choreographers and the pieces stopped a bit, like with the director which we had before. Mm-hmm. And now this list can go on. Yeah, I still danced La Strada from Pistoni, pieces from our director Bruno Boucher. I was quite into this. A new Swan Lake production, Foresight, very important point in the career. Very
yes,
nice.
William Forsythe is very, very beautiful. So, I like William Forsythe very much.
Of course, the list can be much longer, but yeah, It's a big overview, I would say.
Yes, exactly. I think, and like I said, I think we'll just link to your profile, and then I think people, and also to the Opera National Du Rhin, of course, who know that you are here today. So I think it's good to provide that link as well. So I think there can be a lot of information found for anyone that's interested. And we hope that everybody will be interested after this, because ballet is just a beautiful, beautiful art form that needs also our support in this very difficult time, I believe. And that's also why we're here together to talk about that a little bit. I would like to start off the conversation a little bit. First of all, because when I read that you're a professor in ballet, that sounds like, how do you become a professor in ballet? How does that work? Please enlighten us.
How does it work? Well, we had the chance, 2011. Yes, was it 2011? It was a season which we had, let's say, a bit time because some tours didn't work out. And the director at this time, Bertrand, proposed to the dancers who wants to do the formation to become a ballet teacher, a ballet professor. And then it's an organization in France which takes care about this. They came to our buildings, and we had like the whole session throughout the season. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we are professional dancers, we do a bit less hours than a not professional dancer would do. So, but it's including pedagogic, anatomy, history of dance, history of music, and learning, teaching, and everything. And well, at the end, you have this diploma, and I think it's always good to have it. It changes a bit your way of working as well, I would say.
Yes. And just for the very sake that it is also very interesting. I mean, all the things that you just mentioned seem very interesting to me, like, history of dance, history of music. That's someone also like you who has spent so much time in there, who already knows a lot about that, regardless. I think to dive a little deeper into that as well must be very interesting and, and a lot of fun.
Yep.
All right. How did you get into ballet? What was your... Where do you remember when was the moment you're like, yeah, that's something I would like to get involved with more?
Well, it was like this, that I have two sisters, an older and a younger one, and they both did ballet, and the ballet school was outside of our village, so my mother had to drive them. And after school, I went with them, and I did my homework in the dressing room, and just waiting that the dance lessons is over. And at one moment I said, like, well, if I have to wait there, then I do the dance class, because anyway, I like moving. I like the physical aspect. And, well, that's how I started and how I got the fever. Yeah.
The fever. Exactly. Very nice. So that was, and now you look back at a career that's like, I don't know, 20, 25, 30 years,
yeah, professional. Oh. It's my 20th season, yeah.
Your 26th season?
No, 20.
20th season.
20.
Oh, that's not so much.
No, it's not so much.
26 would have impressed me. 20?
Yeah,
okay.
No.
That's okay. I mean,
yeah.
20th season, that's amazing, actually. Now, I also want to ask you, so that we also know a little more about, I think we can find out a little bit about ballet together as well. For everybody like me who don't know enough about it and would like to know more, why is the soloist in ballet so important, and why is it such a special role?
Well, if you call it special role, it's just a nomination. It's not a special role, but you're supposed to do solo roles, dancing alone or just with two people on stage, which actually everybody is able to do, because the ballet formation is quite strict and quite complete. Everybody should be able to do everything. Mm-hmm. But it's more like a well, how do you say? is to recognize the career,
yes,
what you had, and to show a bit also to the younger ones, to be an example for the younger ones. That's how our director sees the nomination as a soloist.
Could I say then that the role of a solo is a little bit like the team captain or the football team, to just make a very popular example out of this?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe you could
something like that.
Compare it a bit, something like this, yeah.
All right, nice. That's easy. I learn. Now that we have talked about you a little bit, now I would like to move a little bit more into the season, the challenges that the Opera National Du Rhin is facing throughout this pandemic, because it is quite significant, like all performing arts, and it's the same all over, whether you're in France, whether you're in Germany, or wherever you would like to go to the ballet. It's not possible right now, right, in most places. So how is the current situation with the ensemble, with the opera? What is happening at the moment?
Well, right now we are not allowed to perform. We just finished our a new creation, which we performed, let's say it like this, to the professional and to the members of the house, to the members of the opera house. So especially the professional was important. It was directors from theaters or journalists, press people, critics. So this what we did last Wednesday. We had the conclusion of our work for this season, for this piece. But otherwise, right now we're not allowed to perform. No, we are lucky. We're allowed to rehearse and to work.
You're doing that at the opera? Are you rehearsing there?
Last week we were in the opera in Strasbourg, yeah. But otherwise we have a ballet center in Mulhouse. With our facilities, our rooms, and place to rehearse and everything which includes like
the basic equipment,
the room for Pilates exercise or Pilates machine, and for the weightlifting and stuff like this.
Okay, so it's like also a whole like fitness workout artistic center, basically.
Yes, definitely.
All right. And so because you also say, luckily you are able to do that now. So this is your current situation. The opera is still closed until what time? Do you know when it will be reopening again?
Unfortunately, we don't know. And that's the hardest point in the situation. If you would have a fixed date, and it would be okay. It would be, I think, much easier to live. But unfortunately, we don't know it all. So we see a bit like week to week, month to month. For sure, until middle of February, we don't perform. We hope that it will open, but...
And then it just still depends on the infection rate, of course,
exactly.
Like everywhere else.
Okay. But we are allowed to train every day, and we are allowed to rehearse. In rehearsals, we are allowed to touch each other by the fact that we are tested every week.
Okay. It wasn't always like this, though. You couldn't always perform, or you couldn't always train where you are now in your center. Explain to us right in the beginning, also when the pandemic hit, what happened. And you said that you personally were infected with COVID-19.
Yes,
in March already. So there must have been right at the beginning, actually.
It was right at the beginning. Yeah. At this time, we were the company was a bit split in two. One half was working in an opera in Strasbourg, where I was participating, and the other half was working in Mulhouse. And unfortunately, the people which worked in Strasbourg, we almost all got infected. We don't know from where, but the fact that we work together, that we have close contact, that we sweat together, and
of course,
we got it. And I was lucky. I just lost taste and smell, and
that hasn't returned yet.
Not 100%.
Oh, no?
Unfortunately, not. There's still things which I don't smell. Which unfortunately is like coffee. That's the worst.
You don't smell coffee?
No, not at all. Like zero.
And are you okay? For me, who drinks a lot of coffee, that's
too.
already terrible. Yes, it seems that way. Your reaction hinted at that you are quite a coffee lover as well. So, and we all know that the sensory, like the sense, like taste and smell, they are very much coupled together. In that sense, that's really terrible. Is there like? Do you think it's coming back? What are the doctors saying? Like,
well, the doctor says it can take up to 2 years.
Okay.
So let's hope. In the beginning, I didn't smell anything. There was like 2-3 weeks where I didn't smell anything. The taste I lost for like 5 days, and then it slowly came back, the basic. And then I trained my smell. There's exercises to do. Unfortunately, still I didn't get everything back. There's some taste and some smell which got transformed as well, but that's another topic.
So bananas taste like strawberries now or something like that? Or
no, it's like, for example, human sweat smells more like iron now, but not like human sweat.
Ah, okay.
Or I had, what is it? How is it in English? Paprika?
Yeah, pepper.
Pepper tastes a bit like soap, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I mean, this is not fun. I'm sorry. It's
no,
like,
but you have to laugh about it because anyway, it's like this. I mean, I consider myself lucky that I just lost smell and taste, and it didn't get worse.
So, but other than that, you had quite I mean, it was quite harmless, your infection. Did you feel sick as well?
Not at all.
So your taste and the smell was basically everything that was of direct consequence for you.
Yeah. I had no headache. I had no fever. I had no coughing. I had nothing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that sounds, I think then that is quite lucky if you hear what other people go through.
Yeah.
Well, happily.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
So because of this, and you also said there were others, the opera had to close entirely, right? You couldn't train.
It was also because the government decision was that in France in March we had a really strong, hard lockdown. It was allowed to go for grocery shopping, but you had to fill out a paper, and it was just one person of the household which was allowed to go out at a time. Well, for medical reason or stuff like this, you were allowed to go out to work, and for 1 hour sport a day in a circle 15 kilometers around your house. So this was quite tough. Also because schools were closed, so I have 2 kids, so it was homeschooling for them. And at the same time, I did my ballet classes in the living room via Zoom. And
explain to us how that worked, because I mean, obviously, I mean, you don't have to be especially smart to know that dance works especially well when 2 people are in close proximity to each other, right? So, like doing this via Zoom must be absolutely weird and strange. I think you get used to everything, but when this started, what were you thinking?
Well, in the beginning was just really nice to see the colleagues, knowing also that some colleagues live alone, living far from their families. We have people from all over the world. So, and the fact that we were not allowed to see anybody else, had to stay at home, it was hard for them. So it was good to see them, to be there supporting them as well. And, well, we knew and we had the hope that we can perform soon in the beginning. So we knew that we have to stay in shape because, for us is daily, is 1.5 hours daily training, and then comes the rehearsals. So if you don't do the daily training, you get quite fast out of shape. Let's say it like this. For us, fast out of shape. And, so
ballet is high performance sports. I mean, it is absolutely a high performance sports.
Yes,
if you want. I mean, it's art as well, but it is also very physically demanding. I mean, you can compare this with real athletes. I would definitely.
It's definitely like this. Yeah. So our director decided to propose the Zoom trainings. He combined it with yoga classes or a bit like muscle exercises and to stay in shape. And it's in the first time it's really weird. It's really strange. Well, sometimes internet broke down, so you didn't have the music, or microphone didn't work, the camera didn't work. Then you dance in your living room.
We were all learning Zoom, right? We were all learning Zoom. We were forced to all learn Zoom. Things go wrong in the beginning. Yes, we've gotten better now.
Yes, definitely. And then you're in your living room, holding yourself on the shelf, on the bookshelf, or on the sofa, or on a chair, and then you do the exercises. And we do exercises with the leg everywhere around. So you hit the heater, you hit the window, and then during class, your son or your daughter comes asking you about math or German exercises for homeschooling. So it's quite fun, yeah. And
multitasking became a whole new dimension.
Yes,
right?
I'm not really multitasking. I must say.
Seems like you had to.
I had to, yeah. Well, yeah. So it's
all right.
It's not easy, and it's not fun, but it was good that there was something to do. And
yeah, you describe it as a mixed bag of emotion, obviously, because on the one hand you were happy to be with your fellow dancers, also especially ones that were living on their own. So you described that. At the same time, it must also feel weird to be doing something that really is based on the physical proximity of a couple of people, to do it from afar. What feeling prevailed, or was it just like really every day we're just taking it day by day?
In the beginning we tried the training every day, and we had me also. If you don't know when you can perform at one moment, it's just like the body and yourself. You don't want to train. You just want a break. And so the fact that it was on volunteer basis, we could decide if we could do it or not, even though we all knew that it was important that we do it. So at the end, or after a while, it was like 3 times a week we had the exercises. Also because at this time a lot of dance classes through Zoom were open from all over the world. So it was very interesting to see a bit somewhere else also how it goes. Mm-hmm. And I admit that sometimes I did my ballet class, but I switched off the camera of the Zoom, and I did a bit of my own exercises because of the space. It didn't work, and
no, I can imagine
it helped us to be kind of in shape afterwards when we could start working again.
Yes, of course. Anything is better than nothing, right?
Yes, definitely.
At that particular point, so you just rolled with the punches and did what you could. If you look back at this time now and how you had to move from something that was your everyday job into something that was challenging and extraordinary in the swiftness of changing things around as well, how do you think, if you look at it now, how did it change the ensemble? How did it change your interaction with each other, or has it changed anything at all? I mean, maybe that's already very presumptuous.
Well, already before, as a group, as a ballet group, as a ballet dance company, we were quite close together, and so there's really strong relationships, and I would say it grew even a bit stronger together. We made some really funny projects to do something, and so there were some funny moments. Yeah, it was.
So let me get into that because you did something that I absolutely admire, and I think it is a wonderful. It is a wonderful series of videos as well, which I will link to, obviously. And you called the whole. It's on your YouTube channel. It is the playlist is called Saison off, and it is basically all of you, the whole ensemble at home, in like putting everyday movements and everyday actions, routines, and turning them into dance. Right?
Yes.
I wrote it down here. I better read it off, because that way I think it will even be better. To me, it's a beautiful exploration of banal everyday routine and transforming it into self-expression and even self-examination by means of conscious contemplation. If that doesn't sound like I've just been too full of myself, but this really is what it is to me. And I think we all have that power. We can all do that in one way or another. Because, questioning your own routine will sometimes very often allow you to take a whole other look at things that you think you know, and including your own self. And I think that's very healthy to do that from time to time. And with those videos, you did that in a very beautiful kind of way, in a very experimental kind of way as well. Could you tell us about the inception of that product? When did you first have that idea to do this?
Well, the idea came from our director as well, to keep in touch with the public, because, well, in first sight, let's say like this, for us it's hard not to perform, but we know that on the other side there's the public, and it's hard for them and important for them to go to the theater as well, to be to see something, to lose a bit their mind in art. So we wanted to keep in touch with the public and proposing them a bit like either it was like daily routine exercises, what we do, or relaxing exercises, or then funny videos. We did a video with Bal Masqué. We did videos. What was it? I wrote it down because I never remember. It was the poem "Dance Me to the End of Love" from Leonard Cohen.
Oh, beautiful! I didn't see that. Is that on the playlist? Is that on YouTube?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it should be.
I'd love to see that.
And then dancers proposed something about a bit about Laban, but that's what you talked about, is the way that the analysis of the movement and how a movement can be different in a chain production or stuff like this. How it can get transformed, and all these things were a bit also to thank to the health workers and the social workers.
Yes, I that's exactly what I read. When you said, and when I read Rudolf Laban and what you just described as well, it reminds me always of Frederick Taylor. Taylor, the guy who basically analyzed movement and then transformed it into an economic way of dividing labor up into different steps and making it therefore more effective, which was first used in the Ford factories, for instance, in the United States. So it is something very similar, right?
The Laban thing was about efficiency and productivity. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It seems to me that connect, because I didn't know about Laban in that sense, but that makes sense. And the beautiful thing about that is because to question things, like art has this power to show that, because we always like to believe in beauty, that is something that happens, something that is it's you find it in particular places, in particular moments, and it needs to have this kind of revelationary aspect to it. But I do believe that beauty can be discovered anywhere, anytime. All that it takes is your mind to open itself up to it. Some beauty is more striking than other, which is, I'm saying that knowing this is entirely subjective, of course, because beauty lies in the eye of the beholder. But this is what art can do and can achieve, and which makes it so precious and wonderful. And I think you did that in this Saison off, in these videos, very much. So I highly recommend to watch them. I would like to know, what did you take away from it? Did you take away anything from it, from producing these videos, other than obviously presenting something to your public that was basically left outside for all this time?
Well, for us, it was an occupation. It was an artistic occupation, because that's what we missed also in this time, like our artistic expression. And it was moments where we just could, a bit fool around and just not thinking about the pandemic situation. I mean, there is videos where me, for example, I'm with Nordic skis in my garden, with the tuba, the googles, and doing ballet exercises. So there's, yes, it's really funny moments. I did muscle workout in the garden, with my kids. I used them to do exercises. So
that's okay. I mean,
really fun.
Daddy time, bench pressing the kids. Why not?
Exactly.
I mean, you are showing off a little bit. How old are your kids? How old are they? Just like, if you say 18 now, I'm very jealous.
No, 10 and 6.
All right. Well, 10. That's you got to bench press a 10-year-old child. That's not too. I'm impressed. I'm still impressed.
No, it's okay. It's not so heavy.
So what you're describing also, as well as you created your own escape, actually, something that you do on stage for people that come and visit the opera when it's open, offering people also an escape, which I feel sometimes it sounds almost a little dirty to say that. I think an escape from everyday life is absolutely wonderful. Actually, I heard a beautiful sentence the other day, which is not related to ballet, but also to music. I think it's ascribed to Art Blakey, a jazz drummer. And he says, and you can substitute this with ballet now, jazz washes away the dust of everyday life. And I think it's a beautiful line. And I think you can substitute ballet with that as well.
Yes.
So you created this escape for you in that sense as well, which is wonderful.
Yep, definitely. It was time where we just need to escape from daily routine. And as you said, a bit like when we go on stage, we escape from something as well.
Yeah.
We're not always ourselves on stage. Definitely, you explore different things, you interpreted roles, and you learn a lot about yourself or about other people when you see them on stage. I definitely think so. Yeah.
How is that like going out there every night almost? I mean, how many performances do you do a year?
It's hard to say. I had seasons which just like 40 shows a year, and I had seasons which I had 120, 140 shows a year. So
wow,
it's a large range. And let's say average around 70, 80 shows a year.
Wow, that's a lot. That's like almost, where's my maths? That's almost 480. That's like 4 shows. Every 4th day you perform a show, basically.
Yeah, knowing that we have 6 weeks, summer holidays.
Okay, more or less. Well, I'm not here for the maths.
It's 2 shows a day. Sometimes it's 2 shows a day. Yeah.
Okay, but that's very, very impressive, and that's now it comes as no surprise that the sofa is your favorite part of the living room or your favorite item there. You do need some relaxation as well after days like this, certainly. I think. A question that I also would like to explore with you, because I actually had an interview yesterday as well with my very good friend Jim Croft, and about what happened in America and stuff, whole other topic. But it is also about how we talk to each other and how we communicate with each other and how we can improve, so that the polarization in the world maybe gets a little less, and the schism that is happening everywhere, how we can maybe counteract that. So for me, when I look at ballet, and like I said in the beginning as well, I have a very limited view of ballet. I love ballet, but on a knowledge level, I lack a lot. But I would like, for me, it's very multidisciplinary when I watch it. It's people from all over the world, from everywhere, that share the same passion, because it's not just the dancing. It is also, it starts with the choreography, with the music, with the set design, with the orchestra, with, it is so many things that are being combined into one to make it what it is and to offer this beautiful, night out to people, this beautiful escape, if you will. And it is amazing to me how, they all work together and create this amazing thing. And I was just wondering, what can you take away from this for our society? Like, in terms of communication, what can we learn? Why does it work so well in ballet from your point of view, that people work together like this so seamlessly, it appears?
Well, I think it works out because, on the one side, it's our passion, and we do give a lot from our life to it, and we really put something from ourselves on stage. We really leave our personality in the roles or in a piece. And on the other side,
piece of you on stage.
Yes,
you said, right?
When we are on stage, yeah. And on the other side, it works out because we are really open-minded, and we are not thinking in stereotypes, I would say. And that's something what, I would say it is important in life to be open-minded, to be open for different cultures, and you can learn a lot from it.
And I think to see the individual rather than the member of a greater group, right? That's kind of what I hear in what you're saying as well.
It's definitely, even though there's a group part and we all should be a bit look like the same. If I would take the really stereotype ballet, Swan Lake, all the swans should have the same height, should look the same. But even in this group parts, you have your individuality. You're your own person, and
yes.
Even if you have first, second, third cast of a role, everybody is interpreting this role different, and so you always see a different piece on stage when you see different casts or different people dancing it.
Nice, very nice. I think that's what you're saying. This is kind of what I'm taking away from it. Yes, even though we are all part of a greater group, as long as we never keep out of sight that we're also all individuals, which are completely independent of any group, as blurry as it is as well sometimes, as long as we keep that in mind, I think we can do better.
Yeah, and it's definitely like this, that us as dancers on stage, we wouldn't be anything, we would be nothing without the technicians, the light setter, the costume lady, and all these. They are working a bit like in our shadows. Let's say it like this. That's what they like. Also, that they don't want to be on stage, but a performance wouldn't be able to happen if they wouldn't be there.
That makes me wonder in my mind too, because one of the ballets you have planned, I think, in which you're going to be performing as well as Chaplin, right?
We did perform Chaplin.
You
already,
did,
yes.
But you're not going to do that, but you have.
We have done it already. Yeah, we might do it again.
Okay, so they might do it again. Just saying, keep your eyes peeled, right? Because I saw that, and when I saw that, it just brought so much joy to me because it was exactly what you just said. You see it. The dancing is beautiful. The set design is absolutely gorgeous, like with the different lights. Also, this idea of Chaplin being the tramp on the one hand, the one that from the movies, the character,
yes.
And then Charlie Chaplin as his actual self, and this division, with him being in this kind of open wardrobe with a glass front in between. I think it is wonderfully done. It is absolutely beautiful. And this is what you just said. It all has to work together to create this amazingly beautiful piece of art. The set design, you dancing and everything. People should check that out. That's why I'm also bringing it up, because it's very worthwhile to visit that. It's on YouTube, I think. Do you have anything as well available online, like via the website, like full performances even?
Yes. Now the fact that we're not allowed to perform, the opera puts videos on streaming. on the website. Yeah, there's a link on the website where you can see our latest productions, which is
nice.
Is Dancing Mozart in the 21st Century. Mm-hmm. It's two dancers of the from the company which choreographed. Mm-hmm. They both choreographed about Mozart's life, and is Spectre d'Europe, the first program which we did, which is 3 different pieces.
Nice. I will link to that, of course, so that people can go there straight and watch it, because it's there's some really beautiful things. And if you can't go to the opera, at least you can get on the couch, get some popcorn or chips, or if you prefer snack, whatever, and watch some of that. Maybe even a Bavarian beer or an Italian red wine.
Yes.
Who are we to judge? Who are we to judge? One thing that also interests me is the ballet and art is, on the one hand, we've talked about the escape that it offers, right? And at the same time, art is also very often, and to some degree also should be, a reflection of our lives, right? And it can be the one or the other. It can be both at the same time. There's different flavors of all of this, obviously. What I wonder is, how do you have any strategy for the opera? How to embrace maybe also what happened? Do you have a strategy where you're like, we will offer people an escape from, this pandemic? When they come here, they can just leave it all behind and forget about it? Or do you also have a strategy where you're like, we would also like to maybe look more for a very conscious catharsis in what's happening, and we're creating something that is actually even relevant to the topic? How is that looking on your end?
Well, the opera right now is trying to keep the season how it was planned running. So far, it doesn't work out 100%, but that's due to the pandemic. But it's also because the season is planned 2-3 years before. So there is all the choreographers, music rights, costume, stage setting. This is all discussed quite long before. Mm-hmm. So it would be a pity not to try to put it on stage or try to set it up. And as you said, yeah, it's trying to offer for the audience an escape from daily routine, and escape from the pandemic as well. Definitely. I think that was beginning of the season. We were lucky to be able to perform. We opened the season with Chaplin, and then later the Spectre d'Europe. These performances which we did, and especially the first performance was very touching, because you could feel the audience was happy that we offered them an escape. I would say so. Yeah, they were happy that they could be back in theater. We were happy to be back on stage, and it was very emotional. Yeah.
No. Can you tell us a little more about the first night when you find? I mean, what does it feel like? Honestly, I mean, you do all of this, you're away from it all, and then I just imagine, right, knowing nothing about it, but then you have this first night. It's a full opera again, and the curtain lifts up, and then, I mean, what's happening with you then? What's going on in your head, in your heart?
Well, the first moment, I couldn't believe that it's really happening, because it was 8 months that we didn't perform. Mm-hmm. That's really long. That's normally happens when you have big injuries.
Yeah,
and we were looking forward. We were happy to perform, but on the other side, it was really unrealistic. It was a weird situation, and but quite fast, it's just a joy being back on stage, doing your job, what you love, doing your passion, and once the curtain goes down at the end, and you hear the applause from the audience, is great. And the curtain went down, it was big cheering and applause on stage with everybody, with the technicians, because they were happy to be there as well. As I said before, they're really important for us. Yeah. There's strong friendships going on. I have a really strong friendship with some technicians.
It's wonderful to hear that as well, because I think it is so important to remember always that there are other people who might not be on stage, but who are actually the ones that are invisibly enabling to, or actually lifting you up, helping you soar. And unfortunately, it's not always the case that people do remember that or give people credit for exactly that, even though they're so important. And it's, for me, so touching to see that you have this consciousness, and it seems to be something that seems to be enclosing the whole Opera National Du Rhin when I hear you speak, because I do not have the feeling that you are just the one there that seems to think this way. I think this is absolutely something that speaks for the character of your ensemble, and it's very beautiful to hear that. And absolutely, that is how it is. You need the others.
Yes, definitely. I was assisting in Munich once with shows where there was strike from the technicians, so there was no set and there were no costumes, but the dancers did the performance, and well, it's definitely not the same.
Yeah. And how is it also to, part of your salary, to put it this way, of what you do is the applause of a crowd, right?
Yes, definitely.
So missing that for so long, that's got to also drive you crazy, right?
Yes.
Because it's a wonderful thing to have applause for what you do.
Yes. It was a lack of emotion during the lockdown. Definitely, it's something what you miss.
And how did you fill that hole, if I may be so bold as to put it that way?
Well, I think one part was the season off. It was this was our escape, and me personally, I was really happy to spend time with wife and kids at home and having time for them, knowing that during the season there's periods where I'm on tour, where I'm in Strasbourg, long periods, 2-3 weeks where I'm not at home, and or even when I'm here and I have performance, the kids are 8 o'clock in the school. I start working. If it's performance, I start working at 12 o'clock, and then I go until 11 o'clock in the evening or something like this. So I barely see them, and I was happy to have time for my family, spending time with them, doing creative thing in the garden, taking care about the garden. First time that we made a vegetable garden and stuff like this. So
nice. What are you growing?
It was what was it? Tomatoes, eggplant, salad.
Nice. Have you done your harvest yet?
Yes. It's done. Yeah.
And it was very delicious.
No. It was big harvest as well. Yeah. Plus,
nice.
We have a 2 old. What is it in English? Mirabelle. Mirabelle is a sort of plum.
Yes. I would have said exactly that. The exact name, I'm also not sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And this year we had about 50 kilos of fruits. So.
My word, it was a good year for fruit then.
It was definitely a good year for fruit.
It wasn't a good year for ballet, but it was a good year for fruit.
Yes.
Well, you got to take it as it comes, right?
Exactly. Yeah. No, definitely. You have to stay positive.
Absolutely. What other choice? It's the only choice you really have.
Yeah.
The time that you had, that you were given, you just said already, it was also time well spent with your family, and appreciating it for that. What else did you use your time for that you unexpectedly were given?
Well, I used it as a time for a reflection about the continuation of my career and how it will go on. Well, let's say it like this: with 40 years, I'm one of the oldest one in the company, and the time is more to the end. And so it was for me was time for the reflection as well, and deciding what to do and when. And well, it came out that I enjoyed time spending with my family, definitely, and I realized how many sacrifice I'm demanding for my passion. And that's why also it's one thing that I don't want that they do any longer. So for me, if everything works out well how I planned, this is my last season. Yeah. Let's hope that they still have at least one show.
Well, I would strongly suggest that you just make it at least another year then, because now going without a show, that would be absolutely heartbreaking and terrible. We can't let the story end like this.
No, I'm quite confident that there are still shows this season.
Yes, so. We hope so. Absolutely. I definitely hope so. And I think we should, not that what I say counts, because I'm not an expert in any kind of way. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not anything like that, but we will see. We hope for the best, at least. And there should be at least one show.
Yes.
That's what, and then after you settle down and you if this is your last season, first of all, I think it is a very nice thing as well, in a way, to say now is the time and I make this choice from my side to end my career, because a lot of the times it's possibly also an injury or something like that in ballet that put an early end to your career, right? So having this freedom of saying, hey, this is now my time to finish this, and to be conscious about having your last shows, I think that's a great gift as well, isn't it?
Yeah, for me it was always important that it's me deciding when I want to stop. It's not an injury. Well, that's something what you cannot really plan, but or that is director, ballet master, or even audience saying like, oh, it's maybe time. And right now, I still know that in class, in shows, in the daily workout, I can push. And let's say I'm still in shape, but I realize also that the time after shows, I need more time for recovery. It's getting harder. The daily routine is getting harder to be supported, and so it's a decision. It was my decision. Yeah, I'm happy that it's my decision to stop. And all the shows I did so far this season, I live like 1,000%, and I take a lot from it.
I think once you've made that decision, you probably see things a little differently as well. And because we talked about routine earlier on, I think even though who am I to judge? I don't think it's ever routine being on stage. Not that I really know, but I think there's always something special if you want to do well in art. There's got to be a spark or something. But I think maybe that spark's even bigger, or you are even more conscious of what's going on. I think if you have made a decision like that,
it's definitely like this. Yeah. It's never a routine to go on stage, as you said. There's always this adrenaline, and there's always a bit of apprehension. Is it an English word? I don't know. Yeah. And well, there's a lot of things which you can do wrong on stage to perform. So there's definitely stress. So
if you put me on stage, I would show you all the multitude of things you could do wrong. So I'm sure there's a lot of things you can do wrong.
The most important is that the audience doesn't see what's going on.
That's true.
Going wrong.
The show must go on, right?
Yes, exactly. Definitely. Oh yes. Oh, things happen, and you say show must go on. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think that's the one inescapable truth if you're on stage or if you're in show business in any kind of way. Do you have any idea what you want to do after your career already? Because 40, I mean, you're in your prime, right? So what's it gonna be? Do you know already?
There's two things which I'm planning. I'm going a bit like in two ways right now, because the situation is not easy. The one thing is that I would like to study international business management Trinational, the diploma in 3 countries, 3 languages, German, French, and English. But so far it doesn't go out so well because I need a business where I do my practical part, and the financial situation of the business is due to pandemic is not so easy, so it's hard to find one. Also due to my age, well, let's admit it like this, I'm not coming out from school, and so I'm also thinking about something which always interested me is becoming a physiotherapist. So it's either this or this.
Now I have to ask you though, why isn't it anything in ballet?
Well, it's on the one side also because I want to do something else. I'm open-minded and I am willing and I'm curious to see something else. And on the other side is also, I know that if I continue in ballet, or at least like in professional ballet, there's still the show times, the tours, the performances, the weekend. And
so it's not really a break from what you have known for the last 20 years of professional dancing. It would be continuation, just in another role, basically, right?
Yes, there's some parts of the job, let's say it like this, which I would like to change. Yeah, I would be happy to be able to choose a bit my holidays and not depending on the season theater holidays. In summer we don't perform, so that's our holiday time. I would be happy to be able to choose the time when I want to see my parents or friends, and not depending on other decisions. Yes,
you want to be the master of your own time, basically.
At one moment, yeah. That's one reason also to do something else. The other reason is that teaching is something what with my diploma I could do, even teaching for kids, but I'm not really patient. So it's not for me.
No, but that's great. Know thyself. So if you know that that's not you, then yeah, why bother? Absolutely. I think I can totally understand as well that, you just sometimes want to do something else. I really understand, because one of the reasons we're having this conversation, I'm running this podcast, is because I also just wanted to do something else. Not just photography and videography, as much as I love it, and I will continue loving it, but just also try out new stuff. I think there's nothing more powerful than new beginnings in life, because they hold a lot. So I can absolutely
there's always something new around the corner, and it's just waiting to be explored, and waiting to be
and all
seen.
It takes is to change your perspective sometimes, and to maybe question your routines and what you think you know, which we have already covered as well. In this time also now, is there anything, because I always ask this question, did you discover, read, see anything inspiring, something that because we've all been using the time of quarantine and lockdown, to either read, listen to music. Is there anything where you're like, wow, this has really been a companion for me over the last few months?
Well, I definitely discovered a bit more also, but that's also due the piece which we just did right now. I was watching the film The Wings of Desire, Himmel über Berlin, de Wim Wenders, because that's what our last production is about. So
yes, that's
definitely
a wonderful film. And can you tell us a little bit more about the production? Is it possible to know a little more about it?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's inspired from the movie. The first act is a bit like the reflection of the movie. There is all the characters of the movie there. There is the two angels, Damien and Cassiel. There's Marion, the circus girl. There is Peter Falk, because in the movie there is Peter Falk. known as Columbo, acting himself. There is Nick Cave, and there is my role. There is Omer, the old philosopher. And in the first part, the whole movie is like a bit like in a theater way danced. There's dance, but it's acting as well. And the second act is more a bit like the reflection of the continuation. Are the angels more like humans? Are the humans already angels? How is the love between Damien and Marion? Because Damien decided not to be angel anymore because he fell in love with Marion. How this love is going on, how this love continues. And so it's a bit like the question, the urgency of living and all this together. I think it's a really, really nice, interesting piece. And
it's a beautiful love story, that's for sure. Would you who choreographed it? It's a modern ballet, I suppose. Right?
It's a neoclassic ballet, yeah.
Neoclassic.
It's neoclassic, yeah. There's point work and everything, and the dance steps are classic dance steps, yeah. The classic neoclassic dance step, and the choreographer is our director Bruno Boucher.
All right. Nice. And music comes from like original soundtrack? No, probably not.
No. Rights of Warner Brothers. Better not touch.
Exactly. I was like, that's probably not.
No, there's really interesting music, dramaturgy, music composition. We have pieces of Bach, of Sibelius, of Massien, of John Adams, Steve Reich. And
so really from classical to modern to completely. Experimental, everything.
Yes, even a German group, Einstürzende Neubauten.
No way. Really?
Yeah. I never heard them before, but they're great.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh, I was big on them during my punk phase, which is now, it feels like 78 years ago.
Okay.
But to be honest with you, they're not really punk though. It was an absolute misconception at the time that I was listening to it. Okay. But it's more like experimental music, but interesting, elements of poetry and stuff. It's hard to describe in a few sentences, but very interesting.
Very interesting music. Yeah. This was really fun listening, discovering this. This was
nice. Very nice. Yeah, this is the thing. You discover new things through all of this as well. Is there any story that you would like to tell us as well? That was caused by the pandemic in a way. The lockdown, the different life situation. Any story that wouldn't have happened otherwise without this? Any inspiring story, maybe?
Well, I think for me,
you or somebody else.
For me, the story of the pandemic is a bit more like the end of the career. Yeah, definitely. That's one part. Otherwise, I discovered that I'm not a school teacher because homeschooling was not always easy.
Does that have to do with the patience you mentioned earlier?
Maybe also, yeah, but no. I think it's also that I'm not good in explaining stuff. It's I have my own way of thinking, and it's not always helping the kids. Let's say it like this. So it was good that my wife was there for the French part. I'm there for the German part. That's alright. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were there for the bench pressing part then.
That's also, yeah. We were both there for the sports parts as well. Yeah.
One of the reasons I'm also asking is because I said in the beginning, we've had this podcast once before, and you told me this beautiful story of your neighbors and how you discovered them through the pandemic. Yes. So please tell us how. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously that's no problem at all. But I think it was so nice. So can you tell us what happened there, please?
Well, it's a young couple living in front of our house in a building. We never really knew each other before, unless the fact that at one moment a big trunk of my tree fell on the car of the guy, and he was so kind, saying like, "Well, it's an old car. It didn't have any it had scratches before. Now it has maybe one more, so I don't care." That's so far our connection we had with them. And during the pandemic lockdown, the fact that he's a physiotherapist and he was not able to work, his working place was locked down as well. He spent a lot of time on his balcony. And while my kids sometimes waved to him or stuff like this, he waved back. And at one moment, my kids said, "Well, it's a pity. He looks, he's a bit annoyed. He's just there sitting, watching the helicopters flying to the hospital. We should propose that he's coming and playing with us." So we explained, well, it's not allowed that he's coming to our place, but let's see if we can play something. And then we made Battleship cards. We put them in their letterbox, and we played Battleship over the street. And now it's a friendship. Now him and his wife are friends. We see each other every day on the balcony or in the street, saying hello, knowing a bit more about their life, and discovering that his name is Tom, I'm Thomas, my wife is Claire, his girlfriend is called Claire, and I have a cat which is called Opera.
It's ridiculous. It's like it was in the stars for
it's
you.
Destiny,
I mean, really.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I think,
it took a pandemic, though. I mean,
yes.
It took a freaking pandemic, you know.
Yeah, and I think for my kids and for him as well, it was this escape from the pandemic situation. It was good for them to have somebody else to play with as well. Yeah.
Very nice. I just really have this image of you sitting across the balcony and calling out the numbers, playing Battleship loudly, across the street. Yeah. Which I think
was really
beautiful.
Funny. Yeah, some other neighbors looked a bit strange, like what's going on there. But no, it's definitely some funny moments. Yeah. Also, with other neighbors, we got closer in contact as well, because the other neighbor next to me, we had the same time spending in the fruit garden, and so we talked there, and at one moment we exchanged stuff for renovating the house, because I was out of material and him as well, so we exchanged material to continue our working, our renovation of the house.
Nice. That's all just good things. I mean, only good things happening. Also, it's nice that he's a physiotherapist, because if you are really considering also becoming a physiotherapist, now you have your first contact and possible introduction to the field. So
definitely, yes.
That's very, very nice. I think that's a very beautiful story. Sometimes it takes a pandemic to get to know those close to us, it seems.
Even close to us, we discovered our village more, and we discovered the landscape around our village, because the fact that we were not allowed to, in the beginning, we were not allowed to move more than 1 kilometer around our house, and then afterwards was 15 kilometers. So you discover the places close around you where normally you don't go if you want to go out in the nature. So this was interesting as well.
And it kind of also brings us a bit full circle again, in the sense that it also has to do with routine, because I always ask this question, and I will ask this again to you now as well. But we were talking about routine the whole time, about Saison off as well, and how questioning your routine can lead to other insights. And to me, maybe this is one of the opportunities, and we've been talking about it now. We all had to change our routines right? Because of the pandemic. We couldn't go where we wanted. Our civil rights in that sense were actually very much constricted. We understand why, but, there was no freedom of movement like we know it. And a lot of things were curbed. So our routines were definitely not the same as they were. And because they weren't, we had to take a look at ourselves in a different way. And this, what you just said, is an example of that. And I think that is one of and through your project Saison off and the dancing that you did there, the questioning of routines to lead to other self-insights. I think from the microscopic level of what you did, you can also take that to a macroscopic level, actually. And maybe this is one of the things that this pandemic has to offer. Now, this is what I am thinking, but, people are here to hear also what you're thinking, obviously. So what would you take away from the pandemic? What opportunities would you see in what we are collectively experiencing?
No, I think I'm quite joining your opinion there as well. It's definitely we're out of routine, we're out of our normal daily life, and we have to discover ourselves, and we have to discover other people in a different way. And as we said before, it's always good to changing the point of view, and you discover definitely you discover different things, and there's stuff which you have to take with you. For me, is spending more time with the family. It's trying to continue having a fruit garden and a vegetable garden, because that's it's a really nice and relaxing way of spending time in the garden, or with the kids. Even for the kids, it's really interesting discovering nature and life, how it goes, and all these small details. Just try to take the best out of it. Don't let the pandemic getting you depressed. It's not worth it. Let's say it like this.
Yes. I also like the idea of your fruit and vegetable garden, because, Vicky, my girlfriend, she is a very passionate, I don't think gardener sounds too, she just loves nature, and she loves to dwell in nature. And she has once sent me this piece, I will link to it, I'll find it again, where growing your own vegetables is a silent revolution, basically, against our established world. And when you read it, it is absolutely true. Yeah. It is absolutely true, because we are taking care of a piece of of the world, an additional piece of the world, an additional life on this world, and we are making something grow out of itself that can renew itself, and so on and so on. Without going too much into detail, I will link to it. The text is much better than what I'm trying to bring across with my very limited means here. So I have one final question for you, actually, and that question is: why should people, as soon as the Opera National Du Rhin is opening its gates again and starting to perform, why should people start running into this beautiful opera hall?
Well, because, in my opinion, it's a moment where people just can forget their daily routine. They can forget their daily problems of life. Just being there, enjoying art in all the forms. Even if you go to a ballet performance and you don't like the piece dancing, you don't like the dancer, maybe you like the costume, you like the setting, you like the music, and just enjoying moments, spending time with other people, and just get all the atmosphere influencing yourself and your thoughts. And even if it's just there that you forget your fight you had with your boss at this moment, at this day.
They can be enthralled by the opera,
yes. Yeah,
mystified, and just purely be experiencing the magic of theater and ballet. And maybe also a little bit of an escape of, the dust of everyday life.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Thomas, thank you so much. It was a wonderful interview, and I think we've proven today that a sequel doesn't necessarily have to be worse than the original, because I think it was an absolute wonderful talk, and thank you so much for taking the time again. I can't stress it enough, and I really hope that whoever listens to this will really support the Opera National Du Rhin in whatever ways they can, and be some of the first at the door when you're open for business again.
Thank you for inviting me, for giving me the opportunity.
It's a great pleasure to have you in the yellow van, Thomas.
And with this, we've come to the end of this week's trip in the yellow van. All information about Thomas and his work and about the Opera National Du Rhin you can find in the show notes, along with all relevant links to today's conversation. Thank you so much for coming along on the yellow van today. We hope you enjoyed your time on the road with us. If you feel I missed some essential questions or follow-ups, like I'm sure I did, send them to us and we will pass them on to have them answered for you. If you have your own inspiring story to tell, or you know somebody who does, get in touch with us on www.yellowvanstories.com, where you can also leave us your general feedback or ideas for improvements. The hashtags for the show, Learning on the Job, and Stronger Together are no coincidence. If you want to support Fonzie with a bit of petrol money, you can do so on patreon.com/yellowvanstories, or you can leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice. This podcast is a Mind the Bump production. We hope to welcome you back next week for a brand new episode. We'll be keeping your seat in the meantime, and we'll be cooling that imaginary drink of your choice. Please note that a selection of teas and instant coffee is available as well, of course. Until then, stay healthy, keep loving, and always remember, we're all in this together. Now, take it away, Jim.